we are going to do factoring by grouping. So this is a very, I don't know why it's so large, but a large example of factoring by grouping. So first we're going to take the first two and we're going to pull out what they have in common. So x to the third minus 2x squared, we can pull out an x squared. So we get x squared. Shh. Back tables, I'm going to kick you out if you don't stop talking. So we can pull an x squared out of that. So x squared times x is x to the third. X squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. So we pulled out an x squared. And then for the second one, I pulled out a 5. Okay, do you see how both of these are the same? They both have x minus 2. So we can say x minus 2 times what's left over, x squared plus 5. And that will give us this answer up here.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Well, let's try another one and see if I can make it make more sense. Shh. Okay. Let's try one again. All right. So I don't know why it's so big. Okay. I did not make this sheet. All right. So people in the back, you need to be quiet. All right. We are going to pull out something from 25v to the third plus 5v squared. So 5v. Okay, 5v times what gives me 25v? Oh, I can probably do 5v squared, right? 5v squared times what gives me 25v to the third? 5 times 5, what gives me 25? What times 5 gives me 25? 5. And if we do a v, 5v squared times 5v is 25v cubed. 5v squared times what gives me 5v squared? 5v squared times what gives me 5v squared? 1. Okay. 5v squared times 1 gives me 5v squared. Okay. What goes into both 30 and 6 evenly? 6. 6 times what is 30?
6 times 5.
So we get 5v. 6 times what is 6? 1. Shh. So, do you guys see? Do you see that these two right here are the same? Okay.
So why wouldn't you put 25?
Because I want to pull out a 5 from both of them, so I'm dividing both of them by 5. So I get 5v plus 1. And then the numbers that I have in front times 5v squared plus 6.
What did you do with 30?
I split it up. I pulled out a 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 6 divided by 6 is 1.
Okay.
So you said what goes in 30 evenly?
30 and 6 evenly. Okay? So let's look at number 2. These are really big numbers. Let's do number 4. I just want to do smaller numbers first before we do bigger numbers because you guys don't seem like you're getting it quite yet. Okay? All right. So I've got these two right here. So I'm looking at just those two.
Just the one with the exponent.
Yes. Okay. What goes into both 28 and 16 evenly? 4. And how many, what's the smallest number of y's? I've got y to the third and y squared. Which is the smallest? So I can pull out a y squared. 4 times what gives me 28?
7.
Yep. And I need one more y, because that's y squared, and I need y to the third. 4 times what gives me 16? 4.
Can you switch it over a little bit? There's like a
Yep. Okay. What goes into both 21 and 12 evenly? So we're going to take out a negative 3 because they're both negative, right? 3 times what gives us 21? 3 times what gives us 12? See how I got these both to be the same?
So you're saying that you have to do, so 7 times 4 is 28.
I'm sorry, I can't hear. 7 times 4 is 28, yep.
Right. And then 3 times 4 is 12.
Yeah.
You pulled something out of the 21, that's why you got -3.
Yeah.
Why did you divide it by 7?
What goes into both 21 and 12 evenly? The biggest number that goes into both of them evenly. 3. So I pulled out a 3, and then I have to say 3 times what gives me 21.
That's odd, but I'm starting to catch up.
Okay, so my last step, because this is not, excuse me, you can leave now. I'm in the middle of recording this. I'm trying to do this. Be quiet or leave. When somebody's asking a question, that's the worst time to talk, because you might have the same question, or the person next to you, if you don't care. I have 4y squared minus 3 times 7y plus 4. You have to do that to be finished.
So you should rearrange it.
Yeah. Yes. How did I get my last part? I just took these two and put in the front. And then I took the one that I underlined in green and put it in the back. Okay?
Wait, what?
No, it doesn't matter which one's the front, which one's the back. Okay.
Oh, so you're saying you put 4y squared minus 3
Yes.
7 You see the first
So
one?
that's the final answer?
Yes.
You don't do the second one?
No. You just have one of them. That's why it's nice. You can pull it out of
Either
both.
one of them.
Right.
You can do.
Yes. Because they're the same thing. Yes. Okay. Let's go back to number 2, which is bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Okay? So, you might have to try, both of them end in 5, right? So you can try dividing it by 5 first, and then if you can still divide it by 5, keep going. But I'm going to tell you right now, 35 goes into both of these evenly. Okay, what's the biggest n? I have n to the third, and 3 is the biggest, so what's the smallest one? So I can pull out 2 of them. See how there's 1? We've done this this is the 3rd time now, okay? See how there's 3 ends and there's 2 ends? I can only pull out the same number of each, so that's why I pull out 2. That means 35 times 3 gives me 105. N squared times what gives me n to the 3rd? N squared times what gives me n to the 3rd? N, good. Okay. 35 times 5 gives me 175. 35n squared times 5 gives me 175n squared. Okay. We want to make another parentheses, but you know what we want in that parentheses? What do we want over here? Because we want them to match. We want 3n plus 5 to be in there, right? So, how many times does 3 go into 75? 15. And 15 times 5 is 125. That doesn't seem right, right? 75 divided by 15 is 40. 15 times 3 is 45, right? 25. This is a 25. I can't read my own handwriting is the problem, guys. 25. Okay. Somebody tell me from here, how do I set up my final answer?
You get, I got you. You can do 35 n squared, and then you put minus 25,
Okay.
and then you put 3n plus 15.
3n plus 5.
5. That looks like 15.
This looks like a 5 to me right there.
Okay.
Okay.
That's 5.
Okay. So I'm going to skip number 3 for right now because I want to keep going and have you guys have time to work. So we're going to look at the back. Okay, we'll go, if we have time, we can go back to that one. Okay. The whole reason we're doing that is because I'm now going to give you problems where you have a number in front of x squared where it doesn't all divide out. So, there's a trick for this. You take the first number and you multiply it by the last number. See how I got 30? You list then, 3 times 10 is 30? You list then all the factors of 30. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. Which ones add to give you 17? 2 and 15, correct?
Right.
So then you can write, gentlemen,
Oh.
you can write 3 squared plus 2x plus 15x plus 10. And then you do it by grouping. What can come out of 3x squared and 2x? You can pull out an x. What comes out of 15 and 10? You can pull out a 5. Oh, look, 3x plus 2, that's the same. And so you're all done. It's much easier than doing the box and guess and checking. I did it both ways. The guess and checking took me double the time. Okay, so trust me that this is the way. Like I have it here on my paper. I did it last night. Guess and check takes twice as long. Okay. And I know my multiplication tables really well, and some of you do not. All right. So, we're right here at number 1. First thing we're going to do, what is 4 times negative 3? Negative 12. What are all the possible factors of negative 12? We've got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, correct? Which ones, when I subtract them, would equal 4? 2 and 6. Which one has to be negative? Because 4 is positive, so 2 has to be negative.
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm going to write 4x squared minus 2x plus 6x minus 3. So far, so good?
Yep.
Okay. Now, what can I pull out of 4x squared and negative 2x? Pull out a 2. 2 at what? 2x. And what am I left with? 2 times what gives me 4? 2. X times x, what gives me x squared? 2x times what gives me negative 2x? Negative 1. Good. Okay. What can I take out of 6x, 6 and 3? 3. 3 times what gives me 6x? 2x. 3 times what gives me negative 3? Shh. Okay, so I'm going to go 2x plus 3 times 2x minus 1 is my final answer.
Okay, I think I get it now. I think I just didn't understand the fact that we were doing like, 2 times y equals.
Yeah.
No, wait. What are you doing for it? 4x squared.
Yeah. 2x times 2x is 4x squared.
I know what I'm saying, when it's about that.
2x times 2x gives you 4x squared, right? Yeah.
Oh,
You're good.
yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to make it harder for yourself for some reason, so stop looking at it now. We're going to move on to number 2. Okay, who can tell me what my first step is?
You times the
6 times
by
10, correct. What's 6 times 10 is 60, correct?
the off.
What are the multiples of 60?
60 times
1 times 60, good, or 60 times 1?
Times 2, right?
30 times 2, good. 3 times 20?
Yeah, I guess.
1.
I don't know how many. 4 times 15?
Yeah. No.
5 times 12? 6 times 10? Which ones of these add up to 19?
4 times 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're both positive, correct? Okay. So we're going to go 6x squared
Plus 5, so plus 4.
Which one should go next to it? So 4 and 10 can both be divisible by 2, right? 15 and 6 can both be divisible by 3. So that's why I'd go plus 15x plus 4x plus 10.
Okay, yeah,
Right? Because we want ones, because if we put 15 with 10, it gets
Yeah.
confusing. Okay, so what can we take out of both 6x squared and 15x?
3.
3, yes.
So 3x gives me 2x squared, 2x, right? Plus 3 times what gives me 15?
5.
Okay.
Yes.
What goes into both 4 and 10 evenly? 2. 2 times what gives me 4x? 2 times what gives me 10? Okay, so my final answer? 3x
X plus 2
times
times 2x squared plus 5x.
just 2x plus 5. No squared. I don't have a squared on mine. Are we good or we want to do one more?
I think we're good.
Who wants to do one more?
I think we should do number
Okay. I think 3 is easier. I think we should do number 4. I think 3 is easier.
Looks a little tricky.
It's got an 8 in front of it, which is a big number, and the next one is a negative instead of a positive, so I think we should do that one. What's 8 times 6, guys? 48. What are factors of 48? We got 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 doesn't go in there evenly, 4 times 12. Which one of these adds up to 16?
4 times 12.
4 and 12. They both have to be negative, right, to get negative 16?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Negative 4 plus negative 12 gives me negative 16. Okay. 8x squared minus 4x minus 12x plus 6. And we're going to do grouping again. What can I take out of both 8x squared and negative 4x? 4x. 4x times what gives me 8x squared? 2x. 4x times what? Get negative 1. Good, 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 good.
X.
Nope, because we have the x on the outside. What can we take out of both 12, 6? Let's take out a negative 6 because we want to change this second one to be a negative. So if we take out a negative 6, we're left with 2x minus 1, right? Because a negative and a negative makes me a positive. Okay?
4x minus 6 and then 2x minus 1.
Perfect. That's what your homework is for today. Okay?